we look at which spheres in the crypto space are the most affected or having the most changes because of blockchain, I would say that it's really in the political space as well as in the social and economy space. Just as we discussed, from the political aspect of crypto, and when I refer to crypto, I'm referring to blockchain specifically. We have anonymity, we have the ideology of no centralized control, we have the ideology of no government control, and these aspects have enabled what we call the crypto anarchists to have a platform from which to fuel their ideology of no centralized control. And then we have the techno-libertarians, which are a little bit more milder. They're more around a minimal government control. And this is really what's happened in the blockchain space in crypto, is now that there's a technology that allows these individuals, these crypto anarchists and techno-libertarians, to have commerce using Bitcoin to maintain their anonymity, and now also from a social aspect to be able to communicate anonymously. And there's of course two sides of the discussion about whether that's a good idea, and we can really expand on that as we go through this interview, I think. In terms of the target industries, let's say, that will most benefit from blockchain, I would say that one of the most affected could be e-government. There is just a recent initiative by the European Union to release a draft proposal for a European-wide blockchain in order to fuel a European-wide e-government initiative. Essentially because e-government is all about having an electronic means to communicate with various governments around the world, and whether it's land registration, whether it's car registration, whether it's healthcare initiatives. A lot of these databases are already public databases. They're already available in the public sphere, but they're all proprietary on a country-by-country basis. So if there are initiatives, not just in the European Union, but also on a global basis to combine these databases together, then we can look at harmonizing the world in terms of providing a global shared database of land registration, healthcare records. There's of course privacy issues that can be also built into the blockchain in order to protect the data protection of citizens, and that has already been solved in the cyber space. It just needs to be implemented in crypto. So we see that the benefits here from a government perspective is not to look at governments from a state perspective where the borders. So I would say that e-government and logistics are two of the big areas that would be quite useful. And the thing to mention here is that government is quite slow typically to adopt technology. So they're probably, even though they're one of the most beneficial industries to use blockchain, they may be the slowest in this regard, even though the European Union, for example, has released this draft consideration for blockchain for the European member states. But the low-hanging fruits are aspects of insurance, to utilize smart contracts to settle insurance transactions. And then we can look at it from the standpoint of banking and finance, in order to facilitate transactions that combine cryptocurrencies as well as fiat currency. So in terms of the social behavior that we're seeing in the crypto sphere because of blockchain, I would say that one of the real aspects to the shift in behavior is what we're referring to is the borderless citizen. And this is a dynamic that's really come out of the blockchain initiative, where we have anonymity, We now have a currency and multiple currencies in order to transact. And because of the introduction of virtual currencies, we have the ability for individuals to live and be employed and be educated and be paid exclusively in the crypto sphere. So this is an interesting aspect because these individuals already exist. They live, they breathe, they eat, and they sleep in the real world, but everything else operates in the crypto sphere. Their identity, who they are, even though they're anonymous, but who they are, what defines them as an individual is all crypto-based, and their experience and their reputation is all in the crypto sphere. Even though that they're using pseudonyms and they're anonymous, they still have a reputation in that sphere based on that alias that they're using, for example. So we think that this global, this borderless citizen is really a dynamic that's playing out because of blockchain and because of crypto, that fuels this ability to be anonymous and have an economy that's purely crypto-based. The negative aspect of Bitcoin, for example, is that it attracts criminals. And unfortunately, that gains a lot of negative press. And what is an interesting dynamic to that is that blockchain doesn't seem to be getting the negative press. It's really just the virtual currency aspect, which is Bitcoin. So in this world where we allow for anonymity, it also attracts criminals from all around the world to steal money from people, and how they justify that is really beyond my understanding. But this is really a dynamic that we see played out in the internet space, and I mean, we could even look at the internet as the same type of platform in the 90s. Criminals are attracted to new technologies and exploited by new technologies. In the internet, it was all about what we call the 419 letter. It was based on a code from Nigeria, a legal code that allowed for the distribution of these letters to request bank account details, because somehow somebody found $30 million and they'll give you 10% if you give them their bank details. So the criminals already existed in the internet from the beginning, even from the 90s, and now they're utilizing the blockchain space in the same capacity. What we try to do in the industry is really to separate this aspect of criminality from the virtual currency space and the opportunities in the blockchain space, and communicate the innovative opportunities for blockchain in multiple industries, whether it's healthcare, fintech, government, Internet of Things, ICT, information communication technology, because blockchain really can fuel a lot of improvements in the cybersphere. And we believe that the bad press of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin will slowly diminish as this innovation starts to become a reality for regular citizens, and they start to realize that blockchain is a very good technology for their daily lives. In the same way that in the 90s, people didn't really understand the value of the internet because it was only starting to become developed in terms of the World Wide Web. But now, of course, 30 years later, we consider the internet as a humanitarian right to access the internet and to utilize the internet for improving society. And we hope that blockchain can continue that trend as well moving forward. Well, one thing that we're speculating right now is that if this borderless citizen does exist, then how will this borderless citizen play out into the future? We believe that more and more people, as they become integrated into this crypto society, will find a role and a value to play out their lives in the crypto sphere, and may check out or emigrate from the real world and immigrate into this virtual world. And so we're calling this a virtual state, where as this technology improves and more applications are becoming utilized in the crypto space, we believe that we're going to see more and more of these borderless citizens playing out their lives and their employment and their leisure activities and all the gaming and other aspects of their lives in purely this crypto space. They will be educated in this space, they will be paid in crypto, they will be having their social lives communicated in crypto, and only the reality of the real world will they be eating and sleeping and breathing. And one interesting aspect, and we'll talk about this during the presentation, is this virtual reality developments, where virtual reality can evolve to the point where citizens may actually live a lot of their lives in the crypto space, not just as a borderless citizen from an employment perspective, but actually from a social aspect, where they actually have a avatar and play out their lives as an avatar throughout their life. So we think that virtual reality could play a strong role in crypto moving forward.